Oops. Okay, so, in this video we're going to be doing, so I created a quiz on Kahoot.it. Well, this is the link, and I created a math quiz, so algebra quiz, and I'm going to be going over the problems that were on there. So give me 1 second while I look for it. Give me 1 second. So the first one says, it says solve 2 times the quantity x minus 1 plus 3 equals 7 for x. So this is something that I've previously gone through in some of my other videos. It's basically using the distributive property and the subtraction property of equality, etc., and combining like terms. So the way that you do it is you have two. So we're going to rewrite the problem really quick. So we can either subtract 3 on each side first, or we can do distributive property first and then combine like terms, whichever one. I'm going to try to do both. So we have 2. So it's basically the distributive property says that you have to multiply 2x times 2 times negative, or times 2x and then minus, and then 2 times negative 1, or 2 times 1. So it would be 2 times x minus 2 times 1 plus 3 equals 7. So then we got 2x minus 2 plus 3 equals 7, and then you have 2x plus 1 equals 7, and then you would get 2x equals 6, and you divide by 2, and you get x equals 3. So that's the first answer to the first, that's the answer to the first one. Let me make sure that I did it, that I got them. Yeah, so it's x equals 3 for that one. And then for the next one, we have the second one that we have, it says it's a true false. So it says the higher the slope, the closer the graph gets to the y-axis. So basically, when you have a slope, let's say you have y equals x, for example, and that's basically when you have a graph that's like this. Well, as it increases, let's say we have y equals 2x. So that would probably be something like this. Or if we have y equals 5x, it would be like, so it'd be like probably be something like this. Oops. So basically saying, and this is the y-axis right here. So as it gets, so the higher the slope gets, the closer the graph gets to the y-axis. So basically, you know, as you can see, if we go on Desmos, this is better on Desmos if I go on Desmos. So, so so we put y equals x, and then as you can see, if we put 2x, and then we put 3x, and 4x, and let's just say for the sake of it, we put 100x, we can see, or rather 10x, we can see it's getting closer to the y-axis, so therefore this is true. Number 3, give me 1 second for the third one. The third one says the higher the slope gets, the closer it gets to the y-axis. So as it increases, so if it goes from x to 2x to 3x to 4x to 10x, it's getting closer to the y-axis, not the x-axis. The x-axis is this little part right here. It's this line. The y-axis is this line, so therefore it's false. So the higher the slope, the closer it's false. The closer the graph gets to the x-axis, that's false. For number 4, and I'm trying to go as quickly as I can for these because I don't want to. So for this one, it would be, so you have number 5, it says a times x minus y equals ax minus ay. So which mathematical property does this represent? So it would be, remember when we said you had either, I think you had associative property and then you also had commutative property, and then you also have distributive property. The answer to this one is distributive property, because whenever the distributive property says that when you have an equation like this, what you have to do is you have to distribute each one into the parentheses. So therefore you get ax minus ay. This is the distributive property. So the answer to this one is distributive property. And then the next one that we have is number 6, I think. Yes. Which is, you got 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals 1 plus 2 plus 3. So, it's asking which property does this represent? And we have commutative property, which is A. We have associative property, which is B, and then we also have distributive property, which is C, or we also have none of the above. So, for this one, you have to look at, so basically, we know that the distributive property, remember we went over on the last problem, it says this right here. So it cannot be it. You're not really distributing anything. Some would say that you're distributing, like you could confuse this really easily and you can say that you're distributing the addition sign, but no, it's actually not distributive property, so we can cross that one out. For commutative property, give me a second. So for commutative property, it's kind of the same thing as you know, it can be confused. These both can be confused very easily. Commutative property is actually not it either, because you have, so commutative property says that if you have A, so if you have A times B times C, that would equal A times parentheses B times C. So it's kind of the same thing as this, but it's not exactly. So it cannot be A. Associative property, now that's when you have, so associative property, you basically have A plus B plus C equals A plus B plus C, which is exactly what this is representing. So therefore your answer is going to be B for this one. And forgive me if I'm taking forever to do this. I'm looking at on the app to see what the questions were, because I literally forgot. Number 7, for number 7, it says find the slope between 1, 6 and 3, 9. So for this one, you have 1, 6 and 3, 9. There's well, basically there's two ways you can do this. You can do it by an equation that says m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Or you could also do it by I'm trying to think what other way. So you can do it by using a table. So if you know what your first x would be, so if you do like a little graph and you do your 1 is right here and then your 3 is right here, your, let's say your 6 is right here and then your 9 is right here. You have 1, 6, and then you have 3, 9. So this, so 1 comma 6 would be your first one, and then 3 comma 9 would be your second one. All you have to do is you have to go from here to here. How much would it be? How much would you increase by to go from here to here? And then how much would you increase by to go from here to here? So then you say, so then, and this is also x, y, so then the change in x, or the change in, I'm sorry, the change in y would equal 3, and the change in x would equal 2. Also notice that the slope, or slope, would equal the change in y over the change in x, which is 3 over 2. So therefore, your slope would be 3 over 2. Another way you could do this is by saying, well, if you go from, the way that I would think about it is if you go from smallest to highest in your x terms, this would be x1, so therefore this would be y1 because it's the smallest x. So it would be x1, and then this would be x2, and this would be y2. Now, m, the actual equation, would be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So if you do your, if you fill in your table, or your equation, you have y2, which is 9, minus y1, which is 6, over x2, which is 3, minus x1, which is 1. So you would get 3 over 2. So therefore m would be 3 halves. So your slope would be 3 halves. And then, let's see, for the next one. This one is quite complicated, but bear with me. So, we have solve 2 times x minus 3 equals, or sorry, plus 4 equals 3 times x minus 1 plus 2. So we're going to go through this step by step. So we have number 1, use distributive property. So we have 2 times x minus 3 plus 4 equals 3 times x minus 1 plus 2. So then we have 2x minus 6 plus 4 equals 3x minus 3 plus 2. So then we would say 2x minus 2 equals 3x minus 1. So the way that you would do it is you basically distribute these two and these two, and then you combine like terms, which is this part and this part, and you get here and here. And then once you do that, you can go ahead and solve for x by first subtracting your x's on each side. So you have minus 2x on each side, and you get negative 2 equals x minus 1. So then you add 1 to each side, and you get negative 1 equals x, or x equals negative 1. So that's the answer for that one. And for number 9, you have write the equation in point slope form, where m equals 1/3 between the points 2, 3, 2, 3, and 5, 4. So we already have our slope. This is our slope right here. The equation of a line in point slope form can be defined as y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So we have here the equation in point slope form. Now we have to know what our x1, y1, and what our x2, y2 would be. So we have remember when I said go from lowest to highest? This would be our x1, so this would be our y1. And then since this is the highest, this would be our x2, and this would be our y2. So we have y minus 3 equals, and we already have our m. Our m is right here. So we have 1/3 times x minus our x1, which is 2. So therefore, that would be, this would be the equation. Oops. So in point slope form, if you want me to go over that, it's defined as y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So that would be, again, the point slope form. And now we have to solve for y in this equation. So our last one, we have y minus 3 equals 1/3 times x minus 2. If we do our distributive property first, we have y minus 3 equals 1/3 x minus 2/3. So therefore we have y minus 3 equals x minus 2 all over 3. Now we have to go ahead and add our 3 in. So this cancels out, and we get y equals x minus 2 over 3 plus 3. Now if we go ahead and simplify this, we have x minus 2 over 3 plus 3 over 1. So we have to go ahead and get our common denominator, which is 3, because 1 and 3 would be 1, 2, 3, and then this one would be 3, so therefore it would be 3. So then we have y equals x minus 2 plus 9 all over 3. So therefore y equals x plus 7 over 3. And that is our answer. I hope this helped. And remember to put parentheses in this part because we're dividing this entire part by 3. This is also written as y equals 1/3 x plus 7 over 3. But I hope this helps, and yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. And if you need my, if you need a game pin for this, like if you want to look at the questions, you can always comment down below, because the pin always, it always kind of, expires every now and then, so I have to keep updating it. But I will go ahead and try to read as many comments as I can, and hopefully I figure out how this is available to everybody who, you know, who looks at it. My name on there, on Kahoot, is Aussie2498, so you can always look me up. But yeah, I hope this helps, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.